Hello and Merry Christmas. We are on the eve of Christmas and I am so excited. My son is flying as we speak in from Denver, and I have my green chili cheeseburger shirt on. I am so relaxed and so happy to just lean into the holiday with family and friends. My name is Robin Reynolds. I am a creative coach and a systems engineer. I know that we can design our lives to align with our deepest dreams and desires because I'm actively doing it every single day. So, one of the things that I have been thinking about so much over the last few days is personal power, the autonomy and agency that we take over our own lives in large and small ways. So, when I think about the message that I like to bring to people and what I'm trying to inspire people to do, it is actually less about creativity and art and more about agency, more about understanding where we may have opportunities to take a little more control over our thoughts, our actions, our ideas, our follow through in the world, which all aggregate to create who we are and how we're behaving in the world. So, this I realize is actually the core foundational principle that gets me so excited because for many, many years, you may have heard my story. Just going to silence my ringer there. For many, many years, I did not have control over my own life. I didn't. I was, of course, as a child, most of us don't have control over our lives. But even when I became older, went into young adulthood, and as an adult with children, I did not fully understand the many ways that I was allowing other things to drive the course and direction and outcomes of my life. And so, if you've heard me talk about my big transformation, which wasn't a one time event, but there's definitely some milestones and markers along the way, really what was happening during that transition, during that big change, and then the process that followed was I was figuring out how to exert power over my own life, realizing that I had that right, not only the right, the responsibility. So, this is the message that I'm telling myself this year before I start into 2023. It's really to reflect on and think about how I can make small improvements or small tweaks and changes in my own life to exert even more control and drive the direction of my life in the way that I want it to go. Now, for me, one of the ways that I think through those things, that I process my life, and that I make decisions happens to be related to a regular creative practice. Maybe that will work for you. I happen to think that most of us, if not all, can benefit from a regular creative practice. But you can implement this principle in any number of ways. And so, just quickly before I wrap up, some of the ways that we can begin to grab a hold of that power, that autonomy, that agency, that sovereignty over the direction of our life is one, just by merely becoming aware of the leverage points. Start to notice where you do exercise that control and where you might give that up, where you might be phoning it in, where you're just making some assumptions because you've always done it that way. Or maybe you have ideologies so firmly entrenched in your mind and in your life from your childhood, from your family of origin, that you don't even think about why you're doing that thing that way or why you're having that thought. Those are huge markers for where you might have an opportunity. Once you notice possible opportunities, then you can think about how you might begin changing that. So, really creating a body of evidence, beginning to know ourselves, who we really are, what we really want, and then beginning to enact some of those things starts to show us internally that we have more power than we have likely given ourselves or likely taken credit for. Most of us are telling ourselves stories in our head that we're not powerful enough, that we can't do that, that we're not qualified enough. This, friends, is my most untrue story that has not served me over and over and over again. I can be my own worst enemy because in loud words or very quiet, unnoticeable messages, I can tell myself that I am not worthy, good enough, strong enough, smart enough, whatever the rationale and excuse is. And the fact is, most of the time, it's absolutely untrue. However, you know how just one comment from a friend or a colleague or someone in the world can kind of really take a big hit and you'll feel it echoing in your mind for days, weeks, even years. Consider that our own voice in our head is with us our entire lives. We hear our voice all the time and we trust our voice. If we tell ourselves we're not worthy, guess what? We buy that story. And so, my challenge to us before we step off into the new year is to really begin to think through what we are doing, what we are thinking, what we are deciding, the choices that we're making in the world, and what we're thinking and speaking into being in our own minds. This may be your most untrue story, friend. Let's change that in this new year. So I'm so excited to see what the new year brings all of us. And I'm wishing you the most peaceful, powerful, inspired, and beautiful holiday season and new year. Bye bye. And if you're not subscribed to this channel or this social media platform, please follow me and leave a comment. I would love to know, do you have a word for 2023? Are you setting goals? Do you do a vision board? Tell me how you prepare for the year. And you know what? I see my fantastic friend. Hi there, Leah. So good to see you. Everyone, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and I hope you have a very wonderful holiday season with your family. Bye-bye. Talk to you soon.